previous video, we developed the backend part of the student management web application. Here you saw that we implemented the CRUD operations for our student application. In this part, we are going to develop the front end of our application in React.js. So let me hide this. Okay, so before starting the development, we need to you just go back to the project directory, and from here I'm going to open a CMD terminal, and here you need to first you need to install Node.js. You can install Node.js from here. So if you see, and then you can go to the download page, and from here you can download the latest version of Node.js. So I have downloaded it using the Windows installer MSI, and I have downloaded it for 64-bit. So you can download and install this on your system. Once it's installed, you need to make sure that it's installed successfully, so you can run node ---- version, and this will show you the current node version installed. So for me it was 16.17.1, and this will also install npm package for you as well. You can also see here that it was some here it was mentioned. Yeah, so it says includes npm this. So for 16.17 version, when I installed it, it also installed the npm version for me, so you do not need to install it separately. So if I run npm hyphen version, it should show me the version. So it is 8.15.0. Okay, so I have node and npm installed, and the next thing I need to do is, I think these are enough. So okay, next I need to create my React app. So for this I'm going to use npx create React app, and I'm going to call it frontend. So this will create React app, frontend React app. This will take some time for the initialization. We'll need to wait for this to complete. It has installed the frontend. It has actually created a frontend app with some sample code and node modules. Here you can see in the directory structure that your node modules directory, this contains all of the dependencies that are being installed for the React application, and for any new dependencies that are installed will go inside this node modules directory. Then we have this public directory. This is nothing, just few things. We actually do not need any of these. So next we have a source directory, which will contain all of our source code. Here you can see few of the sample code generated for you. We will look into this later on. And now here you can see this package.json file. This file actually contains the information about all dependencies. Here you can see that it has installed a few libraries for you: React DOM, React scripts, Web Vitals libraries. So whenever we are going to use a new library, we are going to install it from here, npm install, and then library names, and it will automatically be included inside your package.json file. So whenever you're going to import a new project containing all of the dependencies, you do not need to install those independently. In that case, those will be here in your package.json file, and then you can simply do npm install, and it will just read your package.json file and install all of the libraries included inside this file. Okay, so the next thing that we need to check is the source directory. Here you can see few of the files here. If you check the index.js file, this is the main entry point for our application. Here you can see some of the imports. These are some simple imports. You're seeing that it's importing app from /app. We will look into this as well. It's using React DOM and React libraries, and it is using index.css file for styling. And this is very simple starting point. Here it's just creating the root of your DOM object, and then it's just rendering your application component. This app component is defined inside your app.js file. So if you go inside your app.js file, here you can see it's just importing a logo. It's importing your application CSS file, which is application styling, which is defined inside your app.css file. So here you can see that here we have a component app, which which is a functional component, and inside this functional component you can see some, you are seeing that this looks like this actually looks like HTML, but it's not HTML, this is JSX. And then here you can see that we are rendering something. Actually we aren't rendering something, this is actually the sample code generated by React when we first created our first React app. So if we start our node server, then we should see that it will okay, so it's okay, first I need to go inside front end directory, and then now if I start my node server, then I should see the sample app being rendered. So let's wait for this to start. This will start your development server on localhost 3000 port. So it will take a little bit of time. Okay, I think it started. So if I go there, it should have automatically opened the browser, but it hasn't. That's weird. Okay, let me open myself. Is if I go to localhost 3000, well, it's not opening. Let me see what's wrong. Maybe it's initializing. Yep. Okay, so yeah, okay, so here you see that it has it's just rendering the source code that we just saw here in our app.js file. Here you are seeing the logo. Here this is the content that is right here. It is actually in the paragraph, and so basically this is the very simple sample code for you, generated for you. So whatever we need to do is we are going to do is it inside whatever we need to render, we will do it inside our app component. So this will be our entry point. Basically entry point is this, but we are not going to since it's actually rendering our app component, and then in app component we are rendering everything. So we are not going to change anything inside our index.js file. Whatever we need to render, we are going to change it inside our app.js file. So I'm going to just remove some extra files that I do not need. I do not need this app.test.js. I don't need logo.svg. So I'm going to delete these. Sorry, it's not deleted. Okay, and I don't need this logo.svg. Oh well, it's taking a little bit of time. I'm going to delete this logo.svg. I don't need it as well. I don't need setup tests.js. I will delete this as well. Okay, so that's it. Now this is how my directory structure is looking like. So first thing that I need to do is I am inside my frontend directory. I have started my server. So next thing is I will go inside my index.js file. It's okay, actually I don't need to change anything inside my index.js file. I'll go to index.css file, and here I don't need this extra I'm just going to remove all of this. Maybe initially I'm going to use font. So here you can see that you can specify the CSS in separate files. So I'm going to maybe just to show you the initial thing that I'm going to use 14 pixels for my font, and I'm gonna use Century Gothic, I guess. Yep. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use margin 0, and I'm gonna remove this as well. So very simple CSS, and if I go here, I'm getting some errors because we haven't removed any code from our app.js file. So here, from here, I'm going to remove this file, and just I'm going to add the very simple code. Let me remove. I don't need all of this. Yeah, I'm just gonna remove all of this, and now I'm going to just simply pass this very simple heading, let's just call this student management application, and I'm gonna wrap it inside header 1. So here you can see that this looks like the HTML inside h1, and if I restart my server, I'm getting Frontend can't resolve. Okay, so I need to remove this as well. And now if I go back and refresh, I don't need to refresh. So here you can see that all of the existing or sample code has gone away, and the code that I have written has been rendered here. So it's a very simple heading that I have written here, that I want to render this heading. Okay, so here you can see that I have written very simple JSX inside my app component. I have returned a very simple heading, um, which is being rendered on my browser. So anything that I need to render or anything that I need to render on my browser for my application, I will write inside my app component. And as you saw before, that we have this app component inside our entry point. So in our index.js, so anything that we need to render, we will not write it inside our index.js file. In fact, we will not modify this file. We will write every component that we need to render inside our app.js file. So so anything that you need to render, you will write here. But writing each and every line of code inside app.js is not the right way of implementing your application. We need modularity inside our code, so we will instead write our components as separate components. So for that purpose, I will create a file directory in which I will write my components. So I have created a components directory inside my source directory, and inside this directory I will create my first component. So my first component will be the navigation component. In this component, I will write the code for my top navigation bar and my side navigation bar. So before writing code inside it, I will go inside my front-end directory, and I will install Bootstrap library. So if you have used this library before, this is a simple JavaScript library and with CSS styling for use, that you do not need to write each and everything from scratch. So let it the installation to be complete. So when the Bootstrap library will be installed, you can see that it's being added inside your package.json file. We will also need to install React Bootstrap, since we'll be using the React Bootstrap version of library of Bootstrap. So let's it's to complete, and then you can see that it's also automatically added inside your package.json file once it completed. Let's wait for it to complete. So it has added React Bootstrap as well inside your package.json file. Now we are going back to the navigation.js, and here the first thing that we need to do, for any component you will import React from the React. Okay, so you will need to do for every component, you will need to do this import. The next thing is I'm going to write my first component. I'm going to call this navigation, and then this I am not passing any parameters here, and then I'm going to simply return a very simple heading. So I'm going to say h1. Here I'm going to say the navigation bar, and I'm going to say the navigation component. Let me close this heading, and if I just sorry, I had to use this braces here, and now if I will do export default navigation, so that I can export it in my import in my app.js file. So here you see that I have created a very simple component, navigation component, and now if you go back to your uh, web page and refresh your page, then you do not see why I'm not seeing anything. Maybe okay, sorry, first let me just start it again. Okay, so okay, so my if you go back to your browser and refresh your page, then you see that I don't see my navigation bar component rendered here. It's because we need to first import it inside our app.js file, which was here in our index.js file. Since we haven't added it in our app.js file, so React doesn't know that this component actually exists. So to render this, we are going to import it inside our app.js file, and here I'm going to import navigation from import navigation from dot slash components slash navigation, and here I'm going to simply call that component like this. Will be rendered. Now if I save this, and just throwing me an error, expected corresponding. Let me go back to my, oh, sorry, I need to do h1 here. uh, React, sorry about the typos. So if I go back here to my browser, you can see that now my navigation component is being rendered. So it's very, very, very simple. We can actually render multiple components here. So for example, if I had another component, I'm not gonna write any new component for this yet. So for example, I had another component with name, for example, home. So if I rendered that, it will be rendered there. Since I have already added here, so I'm going to remove it. I can't add it here twice. Okay, so now if I here is my very simple navigation component. Now if I go back to my navigation component, I need to write the actual code for showing the actual navigation bar. So for this, I'm going to use my React Bootstrap library. From React Bootstrap library, I'm going to use these two components, nav bar and nav components, and I will import this from React Bootstrap that we just installed. Okay, and next thing is that I will just go there, and instead I'll just remove it. I don't need it. I will need a div to wrap my component inside a div component, inside a div tag. And here I'm going to use the navbar component, and I'm going to take this example from here, navbar react bootstrap example. Okay, here I'm going to just look if I can. So I'm going to use this one, and I think it's it's this one. So I'm going to copy it from here, and I will just paste it here. Okay, and now I don't need this container. Okay, so I just removed it from here, and if I just go back, I should see this navigation bar here. Okay, but I don't see the actual. Okay, I need to take the logo, since I don't have the logo.svg file, so I can download it from my GitHub. You can download it from there. So inside SMWA project, I will go to Frontend, src, static, and here I have this logo.png. I'm gonna download it. Okay, I think I have already downloaded it here in my downloads. No, I don't have. So I'm gonna save it in my downloads folder, and now I'm going to create a static folder inside my source directory, and in this static folder I will keep all of my images or logo files. So here I have this logo file downloaded, and now I'm going to move it here inside my static folder. Okay, it's being added here, and now I'm going to import it here. Import logo from /static will actually go from navigation from this component directory to the source directory, and then inside your static directory. And here I have logo.png, and now I will just simply pass it here. And now I should see that logo here. If I go back to, actually I don't see it. Let me inspect it from here. Here you can see that I have this div id root, which was initialized in our index.js file, and then we have this div. So it seems that styling is not being applied here. I don't see any styling for navbar expand. I don't see any styling here. Something is missing. Why is styling not being applied? Okay, I think I haven't. I had to import this library. I need to import this Bootstrap styling here. I didn't import it here. That's why it's not being applied to my navigation component. So to import it, I will just do Bootstrap. I think Bootstrap / dist css, and then bootstrap.min.css. So here I have imported the styling, and now if I go back there, it should be applied. Okay, when I'm seeing some error here, bootstrap.min.css, import bootstrap dist css. Okay, sorry, typo here. And now you can see that it's being applied here, but I need a little bit of more. I need a little bit better. And here you can also see that the CSS is also imported here. So next thing I need is I will go to my code, and I will just increase the width and height and see if that looks better. It looks better to me. And one more thing is I don't need it on top. I need it in center. Yep. Now it's aligned with my text. The next thing is I'm gonna change this to student management application. And here I'm going to just move it, and I'm gonna also call it expand with LG here. And one more thing that I need is I will just go to my app.css, and from here I'm going to remove all of the CSS. I actually need to move my, it's looking really bad here. I need to move it a little bit on left side. So here I will just write some CSS. First of all, I'm going to make my whole screen to cover my whole screen. So I'm going to set width and height to 100%. First, let me set the height to 100%, and I'm going to set width 100% as well, and margin to 0. And I am also going to move my logo a little bit on the right side, so I will just move it from left. I will add some padding to the left side so that it's moved to the right. Padding left, sorry. And I'm just setting it to 50 pixels. Now in my navigation.js, I'm just going to import it and add the class name. So here I'm going to import app.css, and here I'm going to name the class name equals app logo. That's it. If I go back now, it should move to the left, but it hasn't. That's weird. Is my CSS imported correctly? /app.css, and I have class name equals app logo, and it's with the same name. Yep, about that dot app logo. And if I go back, then it has just applied the padding. Okay, so we have completed our top navigation bar. If I close it, then you can see it's just expanding 100% of the screen with no margin on left or right. Okay, next I am going to implement the side navigation bar, and I will implement that in the same navigation component. We could create separate components for this, but we do not need it yet, so I'm just going to create that component inside this. Okay, so now I'm going to, for the side navigation bar, I'm going to use CDB React library. So if you go there on CDB React sidebar, I'm going to just use this sidebar component. Okay, so you can see that it's very pretty and interactive sidebar component for us. So for this, we will first need to install CDB React library. So let's just go and inside the new terminal, I'm just going to install CDB React, and it will be added to your package or JSON file. Once it's installed, I'm just going to take an example. So meanwhile, let me just go there, and I'm just going to take these imports, and here I have this example. Okay, so I will just import this here, and it's taking a little bit of time, so let it just complete. Meanwhile, I can take the code from here, and here I'm going to take this example of CDB sidebar, and now I'm going to add it here. Okay, my library has been installed, and now I'm going to add it here. Okay. So let's just add a div tag here and close it. And okay, so here I will just paste it. And now if I go back, I should see a sidebar here. Okay, here you can see that I can see this sidebar, but let me just change its properties so that it can expand the full screen. Now if I go here, and here I will just here I am just going to change some of its properties. So I'm going to CDV sidebar. Do I need header? Yep, I actually need header, and I'm going to call this navigation. Okay, and class name seems okay to me. Then inside my content, I have this menu, and inside my menu, I need 3 pages: home, and I need students list. Students list, and another one that I need is manage students. Okay, and I'm going to change the icons. I don't need this th large for home. I'm going to use home icon. For students list, I'm going to use list icon. I hope so it works. And for manage students profile icon, let's see if that works. Okay, and that's it. Let's see. I don't see a home and list is working. Manage students is not working. Maybe it's user. Yeah. So here I have all of these icons set, and that's it. CDV sidebar menu item, CDV sidebar, and okay. So these are okay. I don't need this footer. I'm just gonna remove it. And to make the height to 100%, first I just want to change the color as well to make it little more appealing. So I need to add some, um, I need to add some color. I'm gonna change my text color to #333, and I'm going to change the sorry going to change the background color to that's it. Let's see if my color is changed. Yeah. Okay, so I have used this gray color, and now I'm going to uh, actually add some I'm going to add some CSS styling for my sidebar to set it to display flex height. I want to keep it 100% so that it can move till end, and then I'm going to call float left so that anything that is weird uh, doesn't appear on the bottom of this navigation, since we need to show the content on this page on this side of the page. So for that I'm using float left, and then I am going to add overflow scroll initial, and that's it. um, and inside my navigation I will add last name equals sidebar. And if I go back, then it should expand to full screen. Okay, yep, it's expanded. And there I need to update the color. Okay, yeah. Okay, now if you just see that you can expand this and shrink this navigation bar. Here you have this home link, students list, the manage students list. We will just implement our next components for this. Okay. Okay, next we need to add our home component. So for home component, I'm going to create a new file named home.js inside my components folder, and here I'm going to use the carousel React Bootstrap carousel component. So before so here if you go React Bootstrap carousel example. So our home component is simply a image slider. It's just nothing, just simple image slider. So we are going to use that, and here I'm going to use, I guess, I think this seems fine to me. Let me see which ones. I want this one actually. Okay, I'm going to copy this code from here and I'm gonna paste it here. And then I'm just going to check import React, well, I don't need this use state or anything here. I don't need these use states here. Yeah. Dot variant, and I think so I'm gonna use the light variant. Yeah, this one. Okay, let's just and paste this example here. And here I have imported, you see that I have carousel imported here, and variant is dark. That is okay for me. Item, and here I need source files. For source files I just need the slide images. So for that I will go there on my where is it? Yeah, so from here, from my GitHub, I will just download all of these images files. If I go back here, I need to download this file and I'm gonna save it in my downloads folder. Okay, and I also need to download slide 02 and slide 03. Oh, sorry, I need to download it as a JPEG file. Okay, so now I have all of these files downloaded. I will just move these files inside my static folder. Okay, so I will just take all of these files, move these inside my static folder, and now I'm just going to import these here. So first I'm going to import slide 01 from slash static slash slide 01 dot jpg, and just inside single quotes. Okay, and similarly I'm going to import slide 02 and slide 03. Okay, so I have imported my slides, my images, and now I'm going to change my source to, where is my first source? Here it is. So I'm going to change my source to slide 01 here. Okay, and alt is okay for slide. Here I'm going to change it to second slide, and I'm going to call it slide 02. And then finally I need slide 03, which is right here. Okay, and that's it. And I'm just going to, I don't want these labels. I'm gonna just remove these. I don't need caption. I don't want any caption. I'm just gonna delete all captions from these images. Okay, and I also don't need this caption here. Okay, and that's it. I have just removed all of these from here, and one more thing is that I should add it inside my div. Okay, and let me just close my my div tab, and that's it, I think. Yeah, and now if I go back there to my main page, I don't see it here because I haven't added this home component inside map.js, so I will need to add it here. Okay, and if I go back, I just need to call it const home. I don't want to pass any parameters here, and then I will need to export default home. Okay, and then if I go back to my app.js, here I'm going to move here dot slash components slash home, and here I will simply render my home component. And first thing is, okay, I'm just going to actually add a route so that when I click on my home link here, I can actually get my home component. Okay, so I'm going to import first I need to install two libraries, React Router and React Router DOM, so that I can add the routes in my application. So if I go there, I will install npm install React Router. Sorry, it's just gone wrong. Npm install React Router, and I will need to install React Router DOM. Let's wait for this to finish. Okay, and I also need to install React Router DOM, and here I will, once this is installed, I will just simply create route and routes from React Router DOM, so that I can add my my home component as a route in my app.js file. And here I'm just simply going to say routes, and let's just close this, and here I'm going to add a route for home. And I am going to say that the path should be the main page. Insect path equals the main page, and then element will be my home component. That's it, I think. And now I just need to close my loop. Okay. And just remove from here. If I go back here, and I'm getting some errors. I will also need the browser router. For this, I'm going to say browser router, and here I'm going to add the browser router, and then finally close the browser router. Okay, let's wait for this to complete. It's saying can't resolve React router DOM. Okay, sorry, React router DOM. Right, now if I go back here, and I don't see it here because I don't see my home page here, and I'm seeing it here, I'm seeing it down here. Okay, so I actually need to maybe add some styling for this. For this I will go, if I add class name this row here, then it should show as a row on the side. Yep, now you can see it here. So here you can see that you can see this sidebar here automatically, but here you can see that if I am clicking on students list, manage students or home students page, I actually can't see anything, like I can't go to any other page. So for this I will need to add nav link in my navigation. So if I go here in navigation, and here I will need to add some nav links to my home and the other icons. So for this I will import I will need to import navlink from React router DOM, and then I will need to add this here. First I will need to add it for the home. Okay, so here I have Cdbar my menu item home, and I will add my nav link right here. Yes, so I will call nav link, and I will add the path to which I just added there, and I'm also gonna add a class here so that whenever I click on it, it is highlighted. Equals if clicked, and then I'm going to add the Cdbar side menu item here, and then simply I will do this. Okay, and this is my first nav bar. I'm gonna move it a little bit here. Second nav link I'm going to add here, and I will path will be /students. Okay, and final nav link will be this one, and my path will be manage. Let me close this as well. Okay, and here I also need to close this. Now if I go back and refresh my page. I go to students list page. I can't move. Well, that's weird. Have I added the enabling correctly here? Let me just check this. I have made this mistake here. It should be to not path. Okay. And that's it. And now if I go back and if I click students list, then you can see that I see the empty page here since I haven't implemented the students list component, and in manage students component I also don't see anything here. You can see that it's going to manage. Here it's going to students path, and here it's going to main home page. So so next we will implement the components for students list and manage students page. So now we will develop the students list page. Before developing the students list page, we will need to create a folder named services inside our source folder. So I will create a folder services, and inside this I will create a file student service. .js. So now I am going to use the Axios library for this. So for Axios, I don't think so I have installed it here. So I need to first install it. Okay, so here I will install the Axios library. We will use this library to call the API on our backend. Let it install. Meanwhile, I can import it here. Okay, here I'll need to write a function, and I'm gonna call this get students since we are going to get all of the students list here. And here I will call it return Axios. So I will do axios.get to get the list of students from my endpoint, and I think I had this endpoint here on it was on HTTP 127.8000. So I will just hit my endpoint on my backend, which we just developed in Django REST Framework. And our endpoint was /students. Okay, so that's it. And then we will need to return the response. We'll map the response to response data. Okay, that's it. This will call our endpoint and get the result in response to data. So that's the service for our get students list. Now we need to write our so now we are going to write our next component, which is students list. So I'm gonna call this simply students.js students.js, and inside this I am going to now use I will need to use state and use effect hooks as well. So I'm going to import react, and then I'm gonna import use effect and use state hooks, and I'm gonna import these from react library. Okay, then we are going to use the bootstrap. Since we are gonna show this result in a table, so we're going to import table from react bootstrap. Next, we will need to import our get students service that we just defined in our service student service file, and we are going to take it from slash services dot slash services slash student. I think it was student service. Yeah, student service dot js. Sorry, student service. And finally, we will need some CSS as well. So we will use that. I'm gonna use app.css and I will define some CSS there as well. Before defining the CSS, let's just write our component. So I'm going to define my students component, and inside this component, first I will define a state. I will define a state students in which I will keep all of my students list. This will hold the current state, and then I will use set students, which will be set using use state hook. And using use state hook, initially my student list should be empty. Okay, so this will set my students state initially to empty, and whenever I need to set the students list, I will call set students. So this will set the students list to the latest state. Okay, next I will use the use effect hook. Okay, this hook I will use whenever I will refresh my page or load my page or reload my page. This will be called. So on the load on page load, what I need to do is I need to okay, so here I need to call my student service, this get student service. Whenever page is loaded, I am gonna call the get student service from my backend, and then I will get the result in my students state. Okay, so here what I'm going to do first, I will going to do let mounted if the page is mounted, and I'm gonna set this to true, and then I will simply call my get students service, and once this is called, I'm gonna store the data dot then data that is returned from the get students service inside my uh, students state. Okay, so here I'm gonna call if mounted. Okay, if mounted, then I'm going to simply set my students state to the data that I have received from backend. Okay, set students data. That's it. And let me see if my bracket is not closed here. I need to close it. Yeah, I need to close it here. Okay, and finally what I'm going to do is I will just simply return the page, and then I will set mounted to return from this use effect hook, and then I will set mounted to false again, so that next time I'm gonna refresh the page, it just set mounted to true and get the students list again. So that's it. That's very simple. If a use effect hook we are gonna use for getting the students list. And finally, I'm just going to return the empty array if I don't get anything. Okay, so now we are going to call return, and here I'm going to here let me just take an example of table from here. So I'm gonna call react bootstrap table example. Okay, I think this first one does seems okay to me. I'm gonna use it. Yeah, stripped bordered over looks okay to me. I'm gonna use this. Okay, so let's just copy it, and here I'm going to use it right here. And now I am going to add it first inside the div container, and let me close this as well. Okay. Okay, so here I am going to use t-head is okay for me, and here I'm gonna use the first thing is ID. Then I have first name, last name is okay. Then I have registration number, registration number, and then I'm going to add two more headings, that is email and course. So let's add email and finally course. Okay, my headings are done. Next thing is I need to do is I don't need this thing here. I'm gonna remove all of these rows. So I'm just gonna keep these rows and just delete all of these, since I'll be populating using this the student using student state, which was populated using get student service. And here first I'm going to uh, pass my students. I'm going to map my students state to a parameter stu. Okay, and then going to I'm going to add this data in my row. Okay, so for every student inside my students, it will be mapped to a student object, and then I will render it as a row. Okay, here I'm going to add tr, and I'm gonna call its key, set its key to student.id, student.id, and then I'm going to set my table data. This is my table row, this is my table data, and here in my first first column I'm going to set student id, and similarly I will add first name, last name, and the remaining fields here. Here I will call first name, here I will call last name, and here I will call registration number, registration number, and then finally two more columns, two more cells for email and course. So it will, so what it will do, if I have 4 students in my students state, then it's going to map each and every student, like it's kind of a for loop. It's going to map each and every student on the stu object, and then it's going to render a row for each object. Okay, so that's it. I think that's enough. My table row is ended here, and I think I just need to check if my yeah, it's fine. It does seem fine to me. Okay, I'm gonna save it, and finally in the end I'm going to, here it seems that this is an extra bracket, I guess. Let me see. Yep, I have this extra bracket here. I need to remove it. And finally I'm going to export default students, and we are good to go. Yeah, that seems great. Okay, let me close this as well. Okay, let's just go back here and see if aren't getting any errors here. Now I'm going to app.js file, since I will need to render this students page on my actual uh, browser. So here I'm going to add a route, and here I will add the path to slash students, and here I will in element add the students component. First I will import the component import students from slash components slash students. Yep, and here I'm just simply going to call students. Okay, let's just save it and wait for this to compile. Now if I go back here, and I think it's, yep, if I go back here and refresh my page, I should get the result, but I am not getting the result. Let me inspect it. What's going wrong here? Okay, so all right, let me go to the network tab. Network tab, and here I'm going to just clear this. And now if I go and call students, oh, it's calling it many times. Okay, something has gone wrong here. Let me just go and fix this. By the way, am I getting any result here? Let me see. Preview response. Nope. No content available because this request was redirected. Uh, Here I am getting it. I am getting the response, but I am not able to. Okay. And am I getting all of the students? Yep, I am getting all of the students. I am getting the response, but I am not able to render it properly. Let's see what's wrong. Uh, Let me go back to the students page, and here I just need to check if my if I have missed something here. Maybe there is something that I'm missing. Maybe it's being, yeah, okay, sorry, actually it's being rendered here. So we need to set some CSS to render it actually on the right place. Okay, first of all, we will need to render it inside the row. So I'm going here, and here I'm going to call class name equals row, and let's see if it does the right thing. Yep, now it's showing it right here. Now I just need to set some padding here from the left side and from the top, so that it just does shows the right place. So for this I'm going to add some styling in my app.css file. I will go to the app.css here, and here I'm going to say dot side row, and I'm gonna set the padding to 30 pixels. Okay. And it does seems okay to me. Now if I go back to the students page, here I'm going to here I'm going to add side row as well, so that it just adds padding to my table. Let's see how does it looks. Yep, it looks fine to me. That's great. Okay, I think we don't need to add any other do I need to add any other styling? I think it's okay, it just seems okay to me. Okay, next we are going to, okay, so this was our students list page. If we go to the manage students page, then you see that it's the empty page. We need to implement this page as well, but right now our home and students list page is working. So now next we will implement our manage students page. Now we will develop the manage students page, but before we develop the manage students page, I just want you to show one thing. Let's just go back here. So here I just want you to show one thing. Let me inspect in here in the network tab. Okay, now if I reload my page here, you see that I'm getting the response from backend, and the API is hit on this endpoint. Okay, and my backend is up. If you are not getting any results here, then you need to make sure that your backend is up using, we just did that previously in our previous videos. So if you have skipped that, let me just show you how you can start the backend server. Okay, it's taking a little bit of time. Okay, so here you need to type python manage.py run server and hit then you hit run. So this will start your backend server. Let's wait for this to start. Meanwhile, I can show you that if your backend is not started, then you will not get the students list and it will just go in pending and will be failed. Okay, so let's wait for the backend to start. It shouldn't take that long, but I don't know why it's taking so long. Okay, so backend service has started. Now if you go back and you hit your the reload your page, you should get the data. One more thing that I didn't cover in the backend, yeah, I didn't cover in the backend video, is that if you go to the backend settings.py, here you need to set some things. Okay, so here you need to set the cross origin allow all. So let's say you haven't enabled these things. Okay, I'm just commenting this out to show you what error you will get. And this one more thing, so if you haven't allowed this cross origin, then if you go back and hit the URL, then you should not get the data. Okay, and here you are getting this course error, and what it's saying, cross origin resource sharing missing allow origin header. It is because, but if you do the same thing with Postman, then it was working at that time, but using the JavaScript it's not working, because we need to enable on our server this course header. Otherwise JavaScript will not be able to access our API results. Okay, so for this purpose, you need to enable this course headers. Make sure that you have enabled this in installed apps. You have added this course headers app, and then you have also added this line course origin allow all is equals true, and then in middleware you have also added the course headers middleware. Okay, so now if we go back and hit our endpoint, then we should get the data. Okay, so here our JavaScript is now able to read the data. Okay, so next thing is we need to implement our manage students page. So for this we will go here and uh, we will first create the manage students page. Let me, I think it was in frontend and here in components. Yeah, so here I'm going to create a file manage.js. Okay, and now I am going to start writing the actual code. So I will need to import React, and I'm also going to use the React hooks here as well, since I will need to load the data on page load, and I will also use state hook. Okay, so I have enabled this. Okay, and next I am also going to, let me just copy paste the let me copy paste from this, and then I will make changes in this file. I think it was in yep. Okay, so I'm going to take table here, since I will need to also show data on in table on this as well. And then I'm going to also import button and button toolbar. Okay, because I will also be adding buttons for add, delete, and update. So I'm going to import these from React Bootstrap library. So you can see it's really easy to use React Bootstrap library instead of writing your own components for these things, for tables, for buttons, etc. Okay, next thing is I am going to also I will need to actually I will need the get students service from my services.js file, and I will also need the delete student here, because I will be handling the delete student thing here, and for add students and for update student I will create separate components. I would have created a separate component for student, but the code was very simple, so I just added it right here. Okay, I'm going to import this from my services, dot slash services slash, it was in student service, and I will also need to define it there. So okay, before doing that, let me just define it. Okay, first I'm going to copy some of the data from here. I will need import app css here. Okay, so I will just copy this whole code from here, and I will add it right here. Let me rename manage, and just go back up and rename this manage. Okay, and we have used effect hook, we have used state, and here we are rendering our data. I just need to hook this right here in app.js, and here I'm going to import my manage page, import manage. Okay, and then from dot slash components manage, and then finally we are going to add it as a route right here, slash manage, and here manage. Okay, sorry, manage. Okay, now I am going to save this. It's compiling. Let's wait for this to complete. And now if I go back here and refresh my students page, okay, and then if I go to manage students page, I am seeing the same thing here. Now I need to add the buttons here. Okay, so let me just go back and I will make changes in my manage.js file. First thing is I have the students and set students state here, and first I'm going to add the functionality for add a new student. Okay, so I'm going to name this add model show, so that I can uh, show a new form whenever user clicks on the add button. And then I'm going to set this state. Okay, and then I will set this using use state hook, and initially I will set this to false. Okay, and the other thing is I'm going to set, in fact I will do that later on, just do this. Okay, next is I am going to add a function handle add. I will just go right here. Okay, for adding that function, just we will go to the services page. Okay, actually I just want to add it here so that the concepts are clear to you. Just before doing that, let's just add a button here, right here. Okay, here I just want to add another row for actions, and here I am going to add button. Okay, a button, which I just exported from React.js library, and set its class name to mr2, and You can take these examples from directly from the internet. So danger, and then okay, let me just, I just do not want to write everything. Let me just go back here. React Bootstrap, React Bootstrap button example. Okay, button example. And here I hope so I can find a button with good looking button here. For the delete, I'm going to use this. So button variant primary, button variant danger. Yep, this looks good to me. And is it showing any? It's showing the text as well. So let's just take it, and it's danger till danger. It seems okay. I actually want to add that as well. So okay, I have copied it, and then here I'm going to add it, and also add this class name. Okay, now remove it from here. Okay, so here I have added a button, and here I will also need to add the heading. Let's call this action. Okay, and here I have this, and yep, seems okay. I do not need to close this. Okay, and I need to close this actually, sorry. Here, let's just close this. Now if I go back, I should see this button here. I can see this button, and let me just call this delete. Okay, and I am also going to add another button, and I'm going to call this update. Variant should be, which variant I want to use for this. Let me just go there. Maybe this one. Yep, primary. And here I'm adding primary and update. Okay, so that's it. Let me check. Yep, it seems good. And finally, we have added these two buttons here. Okay, here I'm just copying this, and after table I will add button for my add student, and for this I'm going to use success variant. Okay, and here I added success. Let me check if it's on the right place. Okay, it's just trying the full whole button. I don't want this full button here, so let me just change it. It's inside button toolbar. Okay, so button toolbar, and then we are gonna close this right here. Alright, and now it looks good. Finally, here we need to perform some action when the button is clicked. Right now if you just go there, it won't do anything. So if you just go there, you click, it's just not doing anything. So on add student, we need to show a form so that user can enter the data. Okay, so here I will need to add a on click event here, so that whenever the button is clicked, I can call a function. So let me call that handle add, and I will add that handler just right now. Okay, and here I will okay, so I have added handle add, and finally here I will show this. Okay, I will add this add student model component, and I will show this whenever my add model show state is set to true. Okay, so this will show, and that's it. And then finally on hide we are gonna close this. So I have added show, and then if on hide, when my form is closed, then I'm going to call add model close, and that's it here. And then finally I'm going to close this component. We will just create this component, but before that let's just add the handler. Okay. So I'm getting an error here, add model close. Okay, I haven't defined actually this, so I will add it later on. Okay, and now if I go up here, I will add my handler for the handle add. So here we will add a function, our handle add handler, const handle add, and then we are passing it the event as a parameter, and then finally we are setting e.prevent default, and then set add model show to true. Have I added this state right here? Yep. So I am setting this state to true whenever my add button is clicked. Okay, and I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to define add model close. Let add model close equals, and whenever my form is closed, I want to set my add model show state to false. Sorry, I just want to set this to false. Okay, and then I am going to import add student model, add student model from dot slash add student model, and now we need to define this component. Okay, so now we need to define this component. So inside the components folder we will add a new component, add student model .js. Here I will import React from React, and then I will import okay, first let me just create my component, add student model. Okay, and here I'm going to say return div class name was container container, and then I will close this div. Okay. And now I want to add a form here, so for this I'm going to check an example, React Bootstrap model example, and here I will take an example of model. This looks good. I can show this dialog whenever add student is clicked. So here I will add it here, and I will need to indent it a little bit more. this seems good. Save it. And okay, and here I will need to import button and model from React. Import button and model. Import button model from React Bootstrap. And now if I imported as okay, I have not exported this, so let's just close these and export this. Export default, add student model. Okay, now if I go back and refresh my page, see that it's being rendered here, but we do not want it to render here. We want to render when we click add student button. Okay, so in our add student model.js, I'm just going to set this to model, as we do not want the dialog. And now if you see, then it should go away. And if we click add student, it's not actually showing me the form. So for this I will need to pass these props, because without props I will not be able to show this. So that the sets add model show state is passed here, and here you will also need to pass props here. Okay, now if I go back and now if I click add student, you can see that it's showing. If I click close, it's going. Okay, so this is how we are going to show our model. Okay, and here we need to show a form. So for this form I've just copied some code right here, since I do not want to type everything. So here I have some. You can copy this code from my GitHub if you want, and from here I am just sizing it. Okay, and here I am going to add some styling for my model to make it a little wider. And okay. And now if I go back, it should be a little wider and it's appearing at the center of the screen. Next thing is that I want to do is I want to change the title. Okay, and if I go back here, here is my model.header, and I want to name this to this and do some styling. Okay, and okay. Here I'm going to add model.header. Where was it? It was in model.title. Yeah, and here I'm going to add this. Just move it a little bit down. Okay, and then I am going to I need the close button, so just keep it there. Then inside my model body I will copy this code till model.footer. On my footer I just want this submit button, and on this submit I will just set on click props dot on height, so that my model is closed. Okay, and now if I go here, here inside my body I just remove this, and footer, in the footer I will add the submit button. So let's just remove the body from here till footer and just copy this code here. Here you can see that I have used row and column and form, three components. I will need to import these as well, row, column and form. Okay, and behind the submit I will need to define that. And if I go back here, so here you can see that inside my body I am showing some form elements. Here I'm showing a text type form control for my first name, so the user can add first name, last name, and all those kind of things. And here I'm passing the first name, last name, these control IDs, which will be passed from our props. And that's it, I think. And this is just the label for our form. This is the text field. And then finally, if I go back here, so these control IDs will be used to pass back the information to our manage component, and then it will be saved in our backend. So that's it. Here we have button primary type equals submit, and on on click of this button, uh, here where is it? It should be here. And submit. I don't see it here. Where is it defined? Handle submit. Handle submit. Okay, so it's on submit. So here we have button, and when we hit the type, when we hit the submit button, then it will call the handle submit function. Okay, so here we need to define this handle submit. Okay, so here we are going to define handle submit. Before defining this, actually, let's just go back here, and I'm just going to remove it from here. Just want to show you how the form now looks like. If I go back here, I click add student, it should look like this. Okay, so now I'm going back here. Let me revert this. Now just do the submit. Okay, so here I will call const handle submit, and I'm going to pass this event, which is the button click event, and then I'm going to say e.prevent default. Then here I will need to call a student service. Okay, so we will define the student service just after this, but let's just first we will define the student service in the student service page. Okay, so let's first just call this e.target dot then, and here I'm going to call result. Now here I will just send I just want an alert here, and then I will this result will contain the actual result that we will receive from our API, and then we will set and that's it. And here we have our result, and I'm just going to close this. And here, if we receive any error, API is not able to add the student, so in that case we are going to show another alert, and the alert should have this message: failed to add student. Okay, and that's it. Let's just close this and close this. Okay, and now it's saying that student is not defined. Obviously we haven't defined it. Let's first try to import it, and then we will define this inside our final button. And I also need to import. Now I'm going to import add student from dot slash services slash student service. Okay, and now we will define. Now what I'm getting, okay, now I will define this inside the student service. We will need to define our add student service. Okay, and I'm going to call this add student. Okay. And then I will need some information here. I will need the student object here. Okay, and here I will call return axios dot post, since it's the post call, and the endpoint is okay. Here we also need to do this, that's why it's for redirecting it to this. So okay, and now we are just going to pass the student object here. Okay, and here we will need student ID. Make sure that these are exact the same names that we have used in our actual post request on our backend. Student ID, then we have first name, which will be student dot first name dot value, and I'm going to just copy paste these whole thing here. Then here last name, student dot last name dot value. Then we have registration number, registration number, and here we have this, and then we have a email, and then course, and then here we have email, student dot email, and then here we have course, student dot course. Okay, and then finally we have here dot then response dot data, and this is just closing here and closing here. Okay, it seems okay, and we have added this add student here, and I think we do not need anything else. Let me check here. Here on add student model we have used handle submit. Okay, now if I go back here and I click add student, here let me add first name John, Alex, registration number, sorry, email, course, what should I add here, programming. Okay, now if I just don't want to do it directly here, I actually want to inspect it as well, so let me submit. Okay, I have submitted it, and it has what it has done. Okay, it hasn't shown me the alert, that's weird, but it has actually this is not right actually, it should pass the actual uh, it should pass the actual payload here, but I'm not seeing the payload here. Let me just check this once again. Is return axios dot post, student ID null, first name is student dot first name dot value, this is last name dot value, we have email, we have course. Okay, sorry, I just forgot to add this here. And now well, I'm getting a lot of errors here. Okay, missing semicolon. Okay, and then here if I okay, this is not good. Axios.post. Okay, sorry. Now if I go back and click submit, okay, now I'm getting the result, student created successfully, and here you can see that payload is passed. Okay, so this is how we are going to create the student, but we have added this student here. If I click close, then you see that the page is not updated. Okay, so we need to actually make a way to update this. So for this, what we will do, we will go inside our add student model. In add student model, I am going to say props dot set updated to, we haven't actually defined this yet, set updated state we haven't defined yet, so we will just define it right now. Okay, so if I go back to manage.js, here let me call this const, and we will call this is updated, and we will set this is updated. So whenever our backend is updated, we need to refresh our content. We need to update this set student state so that we can get the latest data on the page without refreshing it. Okay, now if I set use state to false, I will start initially set this to false, and then I will go inside my use effect, and here I will do this. Okay, here I have set students data and a return mounted false. Here I have this mounted, and before that I just want to say if when we want to get the students list, when we have the students length, okay, when the students array is not empty and the page is not updated, so we will call the in that case we will just simply return. Okay, we will not do anything here. Otherwise, if we will not put this check, it will continuously call this use effect, and it will call this get students multiple times. So we will need to return in that case when our is updated is false. Otherwise, we will just call our get students, and in the end we will set mounted to false, and we will also set mounted to false, and we will set is updated to false. Okay, sorry, false, and finally here we are going to just pass is updated and students. So here we are passing these two information. When a new student is added, this state will be updated, and here it will be set to true. This will be passed from our props to t, since we have passed props here, so it will be passed back to our manage.js page, and here a user effect will see that is updated has set to true. It means the student list is updated, and it now needs to call this API again and refresh the contents, and once it has refreshed the contents, then it will simply set it back to false. Okay, so here we are done, and I think we also need to pass it somewhere here as well. Okay, so since I will need to pass this state so that it can be set from add student model component, I will need to pass it as props. Okay, so here I will say set updated equals set is updated, so that this can be set by our add model show component. Okay, and okay, this is fine. All right, Now if I go back and I add a new student here, you can see that I have refreshed the page and it has just loaded the content here. Now if I add a new student here, let me call this, and registration number, let's just take anything from here, email, and course, let's just call XYZ. Now if I hit submit, it should add student created successfully, and if you close this now, you can see that it has automatically updated your content without need to refresh this page. So that's good. We have added the functionality for add student. Next we will add functionality for update and delete students. Now we will develop the functionality for our manage for our update student. So for this, I will create a component here, and I will call this update student model .js, and here I'm going to copy this code and then I will update it. Okay, here I am going to, in our handle submit function, we need to call update student, not add student. Okay, and we will define this in our student service.js file. Here I will call update student, and here we will need the values, and we will also need the student ID as well. Okay, so we will call student ID, which needs to be this will be the student ID of the student that we are going to update. And then props.set updated is okay, and here we will say failed to update student, and this seems good. Now if I go here, here I will say fill in update. Here I will say update student information, and the remain to do anything else. So here we are going to say update student model, and here I will name this update student model. So and this is our update student model component, and here now we will go to student service, and here we will need to call a function. We will need to create a function update student, and here we will pass two things, student and a student ID. So I'm going to call this student ID comma student, and here I will say slash students slash, and here I will append student ID to my endpoint, since our endpoint is taking student ID. And then finally append slash. Okay, so the things we do not need this here now, and all the things are okay, and then don't then response. Okay, so this is our update student function. Now we need to add this in our manage student. Here we will need another button, but we already have this button. Okay, so we just need to take this, and inside our right here we will call this, and here we will call our update student model component, and I will also need to update this show equals update model show, and here I will call update model show, and here I will call update model close. Okay, and let's just don't call this update, let's call this edit model show and edit model close. and is updated is called right here, and then our update student model is called here. Let's just indent this. Okay, sorry. Okay, and that's good. Now we need to define all of these things. First, here we will define let edit model close, and we will set edit model show to false, and we need to define this state as well. So we'll go up here, and here we will add this state. We will call this edit model show and set edit model show. Okay. And what else is left? Update student model. Yep, we need to import this from here. Import update student model from /update student model. This is good. Now if I go back here and if I update this, my page isn't looking good. Okay, so the table is very big. Well, we will just look into this. We will check this later on. Okay, now if I click update, it's not showing anything. What's wrong? Where is my update button? Okay, sorry, I haven't added the handler here, so I will need to edit the handler. On click handle update, and it is right here. Okay, and I will call this handle update, right? And okay, now if I go here, and I will need to add handle update here. Okay, update, and we need to pass the student here, and e.prevent default set edit model show to true, and we will also okay, we will actually need another state here, so that we can update the student as well. We need to make this student editable. So here we will call edit student, set edit student, and we have set this to false initially. Sorry, not false. We will set this to empty. Okay, and in this we will send the edited student information. Okay, and then finally we will come to the handle update. Where is our handle update? Okay, and here we will call set edit student to the student. Okay, that we have just passed here. Okay, and then it here we will go there and on click handle update, and here we are going to, okay, since we are passing parameters here, so let's just move it down, and here we are going to map event to handle update, handle update, and here we are saying event comma stu, and we are going to close this, and then we have the update button, and that's it. And one more thing is that we are passing this updated student information to our handle update. So now this information, this updated information will be passed here, and this will actually update our actual student. Okay, um, and we are good to go. Yeah. Okay, we don't need anything else here. Now if I go back here and I click on update, okay, so I actually wanted this information here, but I'm not getting it here. We will need to check what is missing here. Mm, uh, this is okay. On hide, we are saying edit model close. Student is equals to, we will also need, actually we will also need to pass the student as well. So we have passed student equals edit student. So here we are passing the updated state information of our edit student, which will be set when we will click update. Okay, so here we are passing the current student, and now if I go here, click update, I'm still not getting this information here. I think I haven't added props. Props were added here already. I haven't added the values here. Okay, actually I will need to add the information here. We are keeping the placeholder, and here we will see that default value need to be set to default value equals props dot student dot last dot first name. Okay, and similarly we will add this for other values as well. So we will come here, and here we will pass default value to last name. Okay, and then we have registration number, registration number, then we have email dot email, and then finally we have finally we have course, and we are saying course here. Okay, now if I go back here, I click update, I am getting the student information right here. So here I am getting Chris. So whichever student I am clicking, I can get this. Okay, let's say I want to update the course. I will click submit. Okay, field to update student. What's wrong? Let's see what's wrong here. Okay, and here on network tab, I have clicked submit, and student ID is 6, and student/6 payload is okay. Course email, last name, registration number, payload seems okay as well. Preview, we aren't getting anything in preview. Okay, let me see if we are getting any error on backend. Unexpected key argument, keyword argument pk. Post got an unexpected keyword argument. Okay, let's just go to the backend code, and by the way, it shouldn't give me any error. It might be some issue from front end. Let's see what's wrong in our headers. Okay, so we are not having any issue on backend. We actually need to call this here put. We are actually passing the post, but it's the uh, endpoint with put verb, so http verb. So if I go back and now if I hit submit, uh, let's just clear this, and if I update it, programming fundamentals, if I hit submit, so now my student is updated. If I hit close, so you can see that it's updated here. So that's it, we are done with update as well. Finally we are going to finally we need to add the functionality for delete student. Okay, so we'll go here, and here we will add the functionality for delete. I'm going to call, here is my on click event, and I am just saying on click equals I will need to copy this till here, and where is that gone, button class name, and here I will get it, and here I will say handle delete, handle delete. Here instead of passing the full student, I just want to pass student ID. Okay, and so we have added it here. Now we need to actually implement handle delete function. We are not calling it here any component, since we are actually handling it directly inside handle delete. We do not need any, we just don't need any form for this, so that's why I just implemented it directly here. And here I am going to say const handle delete. So handle delete, and here I am passing student ID, and now I'm going to say if window dot, I will open a confirm window for user if he really wants to delete the student. So I will call this if window dot confirm is this, then I want to perform the delete action. Okay, I will just copy event.prevent fault, and then I will call my delete student API student ID, and here I will say dot then result, and here I will just an alert that the student has deleted successfully, and I will call set is updated to true, so that I can refresh my content on the page, and then finally I will say if any error occurs, in that case just show an alert with this message: alert failed to delete student. Okay, and here I'm going to end this, and okay, and here I don't need this, let's remove this. So our handle delete is done, and I don't think we don't need anything else here. uh, here I'm getting, okay, I just need to also implement this student delete student functionality in my student service. So let's copy this simple one, and here I am saying export function delete student, and I will pass student ID here. I will say return exeos.delete, and this should be done on this, and here we also need to print student ID here. Okay, and then we need to also pass some headers. Okay, so here I will say method delete. I will need to enclose it inside single quotes, and then I will pass headers. And headers, it hasn't created another bracket. And here I will say accept application / JSON, and I will pass another header which is content type. That will also be application / JSON. Here I have closed this, then I have closed this, and here I will close my return delete function, and then I will do then response dot data, and I will close this. Okay, now if I go back to my application and I hit delete, it should delete the student deleted successfully, and you can see that the page has also been updated. Okay, now you see that here we have completed all the functionality for CRUD operations, but I am actually not liking this these buttons. I will use React icons. um, so here you can see that we have a lot of icons here. So if I, for example, say edit, and here I can see many buttons, so I can pick any of the button from here. Let me see which one looks good. Yep, maybe I can use this one for edit. And for delete, I am going to use delete. So basically I can use this maybe. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, for this I will need to first install a library called npm install react icons. Okay, and once it will be installed, then I will then here I will import the edit and delete icons. So for edit, it's fa edit from react icons /fa, and for delete I'm going to use ri delete bin 5 line from React icons /ri. Okay, and now if I go down, I will just simply use these icons instead of the text. Here I will go, and so instead of calling update here, I will simply render my FA edit here. Okay, let's just move it down so that it looks better. Okay. So here I will call this component, and for the other one I will where is it? It's here. So here I will call on I delete. Okay. And if I go back here, I should see these buttons. So you see that I can see these here, and I also want these on one line since these are appearing on top of one another, which doesn't look good. So instead of passing this, I will just remove this space, and here I will add a span just to pass some spaces. NBSP and good, and I will close span. Here I don't need. Okay, now if I go back, still showing on the same line. Let's first move this up here. Okay, sorry, I am just added it to the wrong side. I had added here. Okay. Now if I go back, so now you can see that it has added its space here. So we are done with the tutorial. Our update button is working. Yes, delete button is working. Add student button is working, and our pages, yep, every page is working. So that's about it. If you have liked this tutorial, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more such videos, and thanks for watching.